Greetings. Hope you're doing well. My name is Nehemiah. Welcome to the Behind the Lyric podcast. I'm excited that you're here today. It's been a long time coming. I've been intending on doing this. You'll notice every now and again I'm referring to my tablet. It's my first time doing something like this. But knowing the way God works, I might not even end up using this, to be honest with you. So, because he said, carry no script, thinking not of what you shall speak. Your Father in heaven shall speak through you. So, I'll put my trust in him. So, this is episode 0. So, the main aim of this episode is to really give you an idea of the vision behind this podcast. So, first of all, it's called Behind the Lyric. The reason why is because in my music, there's a lot of things that might go over people's heads and they might not understand the tears, the joy, the pain behind the things that I'm saying. So I thought, I got the inspiration and thought, you know what, let's set up a podcast to bring to life some of these events and some of these things that have taken place. So this is to really glorify Jesus, the Son of God. And whoever you are that's listening, welcome. You are most welcome to be here. You don't need to read from the book of Genesis to Revelation in order for you to be a suitable listener. It doesn't matter what you are, who you are. You're most welcome to be here. Whether you're a man or woman, whether you're black or you're white or any other ethnicity, welcome to Behind the Lyric podcast. Whether you're a believer or you're not, welcome. As far as I'm concerned, I feel like I've got a bowl of porridge in my hands. My hands are dry. Bowl of porridge in my hands. And it's sweet. But when I'm looking around, I can see that there's not a lot of us that have tasted what the content of that bowl is. And those who claim to have tasted it, what they're saying they're tasting isn't accurate. So I feel, you know what? He has performed great wonders in my life. Master Jesus. Let me share it with the world. If you throw the bowl in my face, my work is done. I tried. So this is what this podcast is really about. It's not just talking about the music, but talking about the messages behind the music. Because you would find that it might even end up being like a Bible study. But my main aim is to feed your inner man and to draw you closer unto Christ and to show you a side to him that you may not have seen before. I didn't grow up knowing who God was. I didn't grow up knowing who he was. But he said he uses the foolish things of the world to confound the wise. And he also said the last shall be the first. So I was that scrap that was on the scrap heap. And Jesus came and said, that's mine. And took me and many others out of the scrap heap. So this is what Behind the Lyric is all about. This is episode 0. With that being said, at some point I'm going to be introducing you, possibly in the next episode, going to be introducing you to my co-host, Cadmiel, my brother, introducing you also as well to the technical director, Rose the Saint, my bro. I call him Lion Rose. So to give you the structure and the layout of how this podcast is going to work, each episode is going to be covering a particular track. So for example, episode 1, I'm going to share it with you from now, is going to be based on Stolen Future. I can't wait to get into the ins and outs of that particular track. When you get the chance, have a listen to it before we have the discussion. Have a listen first, if you can. Listen to it first, come back and listen to episode 1, just so you get an idea. In terms of listening, please note, you don't necessarily have to be a listener of my music before you can listen to the podcast. If, gospel rap is not your thing, it doesn't matter. Come along, listen. I want you to be empowered. I want your spirit to be edified. So, also as well, I think it's important for me to cover maybe my testimony. It's quite a long one, but I think to make it relevant to this podcast, let me just kind of share with you not necessarily how it all began, but maybe a pivotal moment in my life where I realized I could no longer live for myself anymore, but I'm now accountable to somebody. When I was about 17 years old, I went to sleep and I had a dream. And in the dream, my biological father sent me out to go and get him a carton of milk. But I never came back. I found myself preaching the gospel. When I stepped out of the house to go to the corner shop, as we call it here in the UK, in America, you call it like liquor store, I think it is. As I got to the threshold of the door, there was a guy who recognized me, who lived in a neighboring area, who said to me he didn't want to see me come into the shop or see me in the area. I went to another shop. I got inside that shop. That same guy was in there, and I could describe him to you. He was a light-skinned guy. He had a dark green string vest on, and he had these tracksuit bottoms on as well. And he was somebody who had plaits, but he took his plaits out, so his hair was in a bun. But he was quite athletic built as well. I'll never forget it. This is the dream, yeah. And I saw him inside the shop, this other store, and he turned to me and said to me, I thought I told you I don't want to see you around here anymore. So I didn't even get to buy the carton of milk, so I stepped out. The next scene of the same dream, I saw myself in a house, and all these people are gathering in, coming in, and I was sitting in there. And I'll never forget the horizon of the way the light was shining into the house. It was like an orangey, it was a bit of a strange orangey red kind of colour that was glaring in through the windows into the point of where we were all sitting and situated. And this guy walks in. So the same guy who's told me on 2 separate occasions, I don't want to see you around here anymore. He walks in. And he turns and he looks at me and he says, I recognise you. I swear I told you I don't want to see you around here anymore. And in the dream, he pushed me and I went backwards. He pushed me a second time, I went backwards. He tried to push me the third time and he lay flat on the floor. And everybody was looking at me. I'm looking at him on the floor. I'm like, what's happened to him? And everybody's looking at me. So I've run out of the house. Scared because I'm thinking I've killed a man, but I don't know what happened. The next scene, I saw this bright light shining in the sky. The sun was there, but this light was shining even brighter. And I saw somebody walking in the distance. And the person was wearing a suit and tie, clean shaven, nice fade, like a good looking brother. And he was walking towards me. And as it became clearer and clearer who this person was, I realized it was the guy who had been warning me on the 2 separate occasions. He didn't want to see me in the area anymore. And who pushed me, and I didn't know what happened to him because I ran away. As he got closer, I remember in the vision, I said, oh my God, what now? And he looked at me and he said to me, thank you. And I said to him, for what? He said, do you not remember what happened last night, what you said to me? I said, I don't remember saying anything to you. And he said to me, you preached the gospel of Jesus to me. Yeah, it's making me smile. And now I'm able to look after my family. Now I'm able to feed my kids. And now I've got a job. That's why, thank you. Then I saw the light that was shining before going higher and higher into the air. It's like the light was alive. It was so bright. And I woke up. And I spoke to my old man about it. My uncle. And the interpretation that he gave me to the dream that I had was so deep because he was able to draw from certain instances or scenarios within the dream that spoke to me and what I was going through at that time. That I had the dream and I didn't even know he was talking on that. I've spoken to him about it and he's telling me about stuff that I was going through at that time, drawing it from the dream. And I was like, what? He could have known that. How did he? What, from the dream? So that really opened my mind and that laid the foundation in my heart to seek him. It's been a journey, but it laid a foundation in my heart to seek him. And that was possibly, I would say, the beginning of me being conscious of the existence of Jesus. I've heard the name and it's been mentioned, but how it's relevant to me, I don't know, to be totally honest with you. But Is this thing recording? Sorry. So that's what it was. So it was a real eye-opener. A real eye-opener. And it's just been a journey ever since. Ever since. He made known my identity. He helped me to unlearn a lot of stuff that came natural to me, that wasn't natural. I thank him. I honestly do. I thank him. I say this to say that God, whatever is within you, God knows what is there because he put it there. But whatever is within you starts to work and show itself. Even before you even realize its importance. When I was younger, I used to MC during the garage days. For those of you who might not know, especially if you're from a different age group or maybe tuning in from America or different parts of the world, garage music came before grime. So I'd be spitting bars, saying things like, inside, hit him with the flow. So I was part of that era. People would be gathered around the turntables, holding the microphone, taking turns to, as we call it at the time, spitting. But it was like rapping or MCing. People will come up to me and say, you're good. But at the time, I wasn't taking it seriously. And the thing is, I was talking some nonsense back then as well. Not realizing I was using a gift that God had given me, and I was kind of abusing it. So, and in fact, I didn't even consider it as a gift. So when people would approach me, I didn't really take it seriously. So a lot of people around me were talking about various things that was going on at the time as we were growing up. I did as well, but it was more from a kind of conscious perspective. But here's the thing, even speaking consciously, without it being rooted in Jesus, it can still lead you down a wrong path. I was trying to be aware and thoughtful, but my focus wasn't in the right place. God had planted a seed in me, but I didn't recognize it as of yet. It took me some time for me to get to recognize that the ability to convey the word of God in a form of rap is a gift. I didn't consider it as such, but God has his way of administering his medication, and he knows who it's for. This is not a game for me. This is real life. This is not a game. For those of you that know me personally, it's not been a bed of roses for me. I've lost friends and family for what I'm standing for. And when I say I've lost them, they've separated themselves from me, which is fine. But this is a real thing where your own will turn against you. My own blood turned to me and said to me, what kind of God are you serving? Because of what I'm standing for, the firmness, because of what I'm believing in. Because I'm not budging on my stance. It's real. He's real. This is not a game. So with that being said, welcome to the Behind the Lyric podcast. There was another thing that I wanted to say as well. Look, I didn't even end up using the tablet. There was another thing that I wanted to mention as well is I know how it feels to be in a state of depression. I've come from it. Trust me. I know the smell of depression because I've come from it. My humble suggestion to you, because it's worked with me, is to go upon your two knees and pray and to seek the face of God, because he's able to heal you and to rain healing upon you while you're upon your two knees. In Batman, one of the Batman movies, I can't remember, with the Bane, depiction of Bane in it, there's a bit where Batman's trying to hide in the dark and Bane is like, you only adopted the dark. I came from the dark. So I know about depression. I know about it. So with that being said, thank you for tuning in to this very first episode of Behind the Lyric. Whether you're here for the music, the stories, or the spiritual discussions, I believe this podcast will offer something meaningful for everyone. Now, that leads me to conclude, to share with you a sneak peek, episode 1. Episode 1 is going to be based on my track Stolen Future. So before we wrap up, let me tell you about episode 1 of Behind the Lyric. I'm launching episode 0 and episode 1 at the same time. So once you've finished listening to this, click the link to check out the next episode. If you can, it should pop up on the screen right now. I'll figure out how to do it, but it should pop up on the screen right now. Also as well, I'd highly recommend listening to Stolen Future first before you listen to the podcast episode or watch it. It's on the same YouTube channel, so go give it a listen, then come back and hear the podcast episode. I can't wait for you to take a listen and hear the story behind the song. Stolen Future comes from a real place that many people may not believe, and that's fine, but let me tell the truth. It's coming from a real place, and I can't wait to share the inspiration behind it with you. There's some people might come onto the podcast who's not particularly interested in the music because rap's not their thing. You're still most welcome here. So if you just want to listen to the episode but then refer to the song afterwards, feel free to do it that way. This is interesting. I haven't done something like this before, so the camera's right in my face. But I'm excited. I'm excited. Episode 0's done now. Shalom and peace be with you all. God bless. Don't take the world on your shoulders. Let your head lean on the shoulder of Jesus, who has all that it takes to carry your pain. Give it to him. Love you, man. Take care. Peace. Crazy. It's done.